You know, it is incredibly easy to look back at 1999 and just think of The Matrix as an aesthetic.
Oh, yeah, the leather trench coats.
Right, the trench coats, the slow motion bullets. It was the year of Rage Against the Machine playing in the background of everything.
It definitely defined a generation of style.
But I was looking through this massive stack of notes we have for today's deep dive, and honestly, if you strip away all the kung fu and the wire work, you aren't really left with an action movie at all.
No, you really aren't. Not even a little bit.
It feels more like you're left with a dense philosophy textbook that is, well, it's actively trying to hurt your feelings.
That is a very apt, if slightly ominous way to put it.
The source material we're digging into today frames the film in this really intense way. It literally calls The Matrix a rebellion against the obviousness of the world.
Which is a heavy burden to place on a Keanu Reeves summer blockbuster.
Right. But the central question for you listening today is terrifying. What actually happens when reality cracks?
Exactly. The film posits that the solid ground beneath our feet, the pavement, the floor, the chair you're sitting in right now, is actually an open question.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore The Matrix not as a tech thriller, but as a modern retelling of one of the oldest and, frankly, most disturbing stories in philosophy.
Plato's Allegory of the Cave.
Yeah. We're going to bridge ancient Greek thought with modern digital anxiety.
And we've got a full syllabus today. We're talking Plato, Descartes, Kant, Nietzsche, Baudrillard.
Usually listing those names is a recipe for a nap.
True. But the notes here suggest these guys are actually explaining why we feel so anxious about the truth right now.
And the goal isn't to be academic. We aren't here to pass a test or read a textbook.
Right, we want to uncover why the truth is rarely a comfortable place to be. The sources suggest that despite what we tell ourselves, we often prefer the lie because the lie is warmer.
So let's jump right into the foundation. Section 1 is all about the cave and the code.
Yes, the source material prints directly to Book 7 of Plato's Republic.
Now, I haven't touched this since a general ed requirement in college, so for anyone else in the same boat, can you set the scene for us? What exactly is this cave?
Sure, so Plato asks us to perform this thought experiment. Imagine a group of prisoners who have been imprisoned since birth.
Okay.
But don't imagine a jail cell with bars. Imagine a deep underground cave. And these prisoners are chained in a very specific way.
Oh, so?
They are shackled by their legs and their necks, so they cannot move. And critically, they cannot turn their heads.
Wow. So they have no peripheral vision at all. They're just locked looking forward.
Precisely. They can only stare at the back wall of the cave. Now, behind them, higher up and completely out of sight, is a fire burning.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And between the fire and the prisoners' backs, there is a walkway. People walk along this path carrying objects.
Like what kind of objects?
Statues of animals, tools, stone figures, things like that.
Oh, okay, I see the setup now.
Yeah.
The light from the fire hits those objects and it casts shadows onto the wall that the prisoners are facing.
Right. And this is the crucial part. Because they have never seen anything else. No trees, no sun, not even each other. To them, the shadows are the reality.
That is their entire universe.
Exactly. If a shadow of a bird passes by and they hear an echo in the cave, they believe the shadow itself is actually singing.
The source mentions that they even build a whole culture around it.
They do. They develop a science of shadows. They give out awards and honors to the prisoner who is best at predicting which shadow comes next.
That's wild.
They think they're mastering their world, but they're literally just mastering a projection.
Which sounds ridiculous until you realize the source material maps this directly to the Matrix.
It is a perfect one-to-one mapping. In the film, the cave is the digital simulation. It's the Matrix itself.
And the shadows on the wall.
That's the sensory world humans experience. The taste of wheat, the feel of silk, the 9-to-5 job. Visually, it's that green code cascading down the operator screens.
And the prisoners, obviously, are the humans.
The humans in the pods. Battery packs, dreaming they are living meaningful lives, obsessed with the shadows of their digital careers and digital relationships.
But the story doesn't end in the cave, right? The allegory is really about the escape.
Yes.
And this is where the source material highlights something I think most people miss. We usually assume breaking free is this happy, triumphant occasion.
Oh, it is anything but happy. Plato describes the specific moment of liberation and is brutal. Suppose a prisoner is freed of his chains and compelled to stand up. He is forced to turn around and look at the fire.
And I'm guessing he's not high-fiving anyone.
No, it is physically painful. The source emphasizes that the light is blinding. His eyes have been accustomed to darkness for decades, so they just burn.
Makes sense.
He is dazzled and confused. He can't identify the objects casting the shadows because he's never seen 3D shapes before.
So his first reaction to the actual truth is pain and confusion.
And resistance. He actually wants to return to the shadows.
Because the shadows were clear.
Exactly. They were distinct and safe. This new reality is bright and hurtful. Plato says he has to be dragged by force up the rough, steep ascent out of the cave and into the sunlight.
That brings us perfectly to the concept of the red pill. I feel like pop culture and internet culture specifically has turned taking the red pill into this triumphant moment.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's all, I took the red pill, I leveled up, I see the truth, I'm an alpha now. But our source material puts a massive stop sign right there. It calls the red pill an existential shock.
It is definitely not a celebration. If we look closely at the film, think about Neo's experience when he actually wakes up in the pod.
It's basically a horror movie scene.
It really is. He's naked, bald, drowning in pink gelatinous fluid.
Yeah.
He has literal cables plugged into his spine.
And when he is finally pulled out and rescued by Morpheus, do you remember the first thing he asks?
Yeah, he asks, why do my eyes hurt?
And Morpheus delivers one of the most profound lines in the whole film, because you've never used them.
That line hits so hard when you think about it in this context. It's a physiological metaphor for a philosophical trauma.
Right. His muscles are atrophied, he throws up, he passes out.
The source highlights that the chain holding us in the cage or the matrix isn't just external, it becomes part of our biology.
So breaking that connection isn't just an intellectual aha moment.
No, it is physical and psychological trauma.
There is a really interesting divergence here, though, between Plato and the Wachowskis that the source points out. And I think this is key to understanding the movie's darker tone.
This is one of the most fascinating points for me. In Plato's version, when you finally get out of the cave and go out into the sun, you are ascending to the world of forms.
Which is like perfection, right?
Yes, it's the realm of absolute perfect truth. Yeah. It's divine. It's beautiful. Once your eyes adjust, you realize that the truth is infinitely better than the illusion.
Right. It's paradise compared to the cave. But when Neo leaves the Matrix,
he wakes up in a sewer.
Literally a sewer.
The real world in 2199 is a scorched hellscape. It's dark, it's cold, they eat that white glop that looks like runny eggs, and they live in constant fear of squid robots ripping them apart.
So in the movie, the truth is objectively worse than the lie, at least in terms of comfort and quality of life.
Precisely. And that's the takeaway the source drives home. The truth implies responsibility, not comfort. The film suggests that reality is harder, uglier, and more demanding than the illusion.
That's a really rough deal. Here, take this pill, your life will get significantly worse, you'll live in a cave and eat slop, but hey, at least it's real.
That is the trade-off. And it leads us to a very difficult question. If the real world is so terrible and the fake world feels so real, how do we even know the difference?
Right. How do we know what is real in the first place?
This is where the source brings in René Descartes.
Ah, the I think, therefore I am guy.
The very same. But before he arrived at that famous conclusion, Descartes started with a thought experiment designed to essentially break the world. He introduced the concept of the evil demon, or the